Everybody wants to get the master. Everybody wants to be the skills. Everybody wants to get there faster. Top of the hill. Pokemon podcast. Pokemon podcast. Hi, my name's Jackson McMurray.
My name's Adeline McMurray.
My name's Tabitha Bardall, and I don't know if I was snapping on time with you, Jackson.
My name is Anna Maguire, and I was purposefully not snapping with Jackson.
This is No Nerds Allowed.
Welcome!
Unless you're a nerd and you're not allowed.
Extra special.
Each step you try, you're gonna get just a little bit better. Each time you die, one more step up the ladder. It's a whole new way to see.
God,
Jackson,
yeah.
you sound exactly like the guy who has to sing those songs.
I feel like Pokemon music and Sonic the Hedgehog music are like the same genre but opposite ends of the spectrum.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like hardcore butt rock and then hardcore something else rock. It's not a butt. I don't know what it is.
Wait, which one's the butt rock? Pokemon
That's
music?
Sonic. Sonic is butt
Hey,
rock.
fuck you!
Yeah. I would say the Pokemon music is better than Sonic music.
I take that as a personal attack.
Tabby wants to know your location.
Just say.
What's your favorite Sonic track, Tabi?
My favorite Sonic soundtrack?
Just your favorite song, your favorite track.
Just
Of what?
Okay, well,
What's your favorite song from Sonic?
Live and Learn, obviously. God,
I don't
and then
know that
it's Streams
one.
of Absolution.
Okay, my
Okay.
favorite
I
song...
guess I should have known this was coming when I asked the question, but I don't know.
My favorite song is also Live and Learn, but it's specifically the Kylie Henke rendition that's being sung by like 200 people at once.
Yes.
Is that the one from Sonic and the Secret Rings?
No.
Which one's
No,
that?
it's from Sonic Adventure.
Oh, okay.
Oh, excuse me.
What about the song from Sonic and the Secret Rings? How does that stack up?
So disappointed
Escape
in you.
from the city.
What about
That's all I
Sonic
know.
Heroes?
Sonic Heroes?
Sonic Heroes!
Yes!
That's a good one.
Sonic Heroes.
That was the only-
We should have just watched Sonic
That was the only
instead.
Sonic game we had growing up.
Yeah, oh god. Scourge must come down. George's feet don't touch the ground. Stared upside down. Like a laser beam, my eyes on you.
It is taking every ounce of my self-control not to, like, lose my shit right now.
Why? We were singing the Sonic music. What's wrong
You're
with
pumping me up!
that?
Pumped!
Gonna fight the moon.
Tammy's gonna punch the moon.
Okay. So, alright, this is an episode of No Nerds Allowed we've been hyping up for a long time.
Yes.
This is one of those movies that we just keep talking about on other episodes way too often.
Yeah.
Because we feel strongly that Pokemon 3, the movie, -- Spell of the Unknown fucking rips. And people don't give it the credit that it deserves.
It rips so hard.
This is, for the record, the only good movie.
Ever?
Yeah.
Oh.
Possibly even the only movie.
Yeah. I
There's
would
only
argue
one
it's the
movie,
only
and
film
it's
that's
this
ever
one.
been made.
So, this is the Entei movie. And honestly, you can't even really say that. Because the real Entei does not appear in it.
Yeah, I
Just
guess
an
not,
imaginary
huh?
one. If I were writing the movie, I would have the real Entei show up at the end and start busting skulls and be like, hey, this is copyright infringement.
This is identity
I'm not your
theft.
dad.
What if fake Entei fought, like, real Entei?
Real Entei would probably win because Entei is the best.
Well,
Do you
no,
guys want to
fake
know?
Entei would win. Hold on. Fake Entei would win, because Molly believes in fake Entei.
That's true.
And fake Entei can do anything.
I guess.
But I could believe
I
in the real
guess.
Entei.
Yeah, but the unknown aren't attached to you, are they?
It says you. What
Ash,
if they were?
Ash Ketchum looks dead ass into the camera and is like, "Okay, everybody, we need to believe in real Entei."
Everybody clap your hands!
Everybody at home, all the viewers.
and then real Entei dies, and Ash is like, "Oh no, what did you do?
What have you done?
You didn't believe hard enough!
You didn't do
I
it.
trusted you!
This is your fault."
Jimmy from Pennsylvania!
Somebody has to have done that bit in something before, right?
Adult Swim, call us.
Right. Do you guys want to know what the title of this movie is in Japanese?
Yeah, wait.
Please.
Isn't it like... Oh, fuck, I saw it, but I forgot what it is. Go ahead, say it.
Well, it's Entei, Lord of the Unknown Tower.
Yeah!
Except
There's no unknown tower.
So,
There are
like I
two.
did last time in our Pokemon the Movie 2000 episode, I watched the Japanese subbed version before I watched the English version with Adeline.
Yes.
And this one, I think, is interesting in the sense that it's not really very different at all. Like,
Ah.
I feel like, because the original one, you could tell the translation was super lazy and sloppy, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
everything was weird, and they were getting the names of Pokemon wrong, and none of the jokes made any sense whatsoever, and you're like, somebody didn't give a shit about this.
yeah.
And then the second one feels a little bit more faithful, but there were still, like, some interesting things I could point out, like, oh, they cut out this, or didn't do this, but, like, this
Or they
one...
didn't explain lightning and proteins and how the fire and the water currents.
But this one is, like, kind of just like, yeah, no, that was pretty much the same thing. The only thing that's really drastically different is that there's a totally new score in the English version.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, the score to this movie blows. It's no good.
Oh, it's so
real
bad.
bad.
It's so bad.
I think the thing that stood out to me was the Entei motif. Like, whenever it would play, I was like, yeah, Pokemon.
I don't even remember what it
But-
sounded like.
God, the thing that stood out to me was the fucking xylophones.
Right, and like the mini
No.
trumpet they would play.
Yeah, but this happened in the last one where it kind of felt like they did, like, lazy, like, orchestra music, right?
Yeah.
Is that what,
Because-
yeah.
And it sort of depends on the system. Sometimes, companies are really good about giving localization teams, like, all the assets they need to, like, just do new dialogue. All the rest of the audio is already intact. But sometimes that's not possible.
Right.
Sometimes localization teams have to just, like, recreate the audio from scratch. So that's why something like this would happen. And I can't say for sure whether that actually happened, because I think the, like, sound effects were mostly the same. But, like, the score in the Japanese version is, like, much, 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 much better. And I just think, and it's not any way that I could, like, quantify, but the score in the American version is just definitely not performed by a live orchestra, really obtrusive and annoying, and always mixed way too loud.
It's really funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very distracting, and it's much more artfully done in the Japanese version.
So here's the thing. I think me and Jackson have watched this VHS from our childhood maybe 100 times.
Right.
And neither of us had any memory of the music in any capacity. So I
Right.
think that just shows how garbage it is.
Also...
Here's my question.
Oh, go ahead.
Wait. Okay. Here's my question about the differences between, like, the Japanese version and the English version. Does Team Rocket keep making, like, self-aware jokes about their role in the Japanese version?
See, weirdly, that happens in movie 2000 in the Japanese version a lot, whereas
Oh,
it doesn't
interesting.
in the American version.
Yeah.
But it was kind of the opposite in this one, because Team Rocket barely makes any jokes at all in the Japanese version, but in the American version, they, like, loaded it up with jokes, which I think
Yeah,
is
because
fun.
they don't fucking do
They don't.
anything in
There's
this movie.
literally no reason for them to be there.
Right.
There is a reason for them to be there. It's because I want them there.
Yeah, okay,
Exactly.
Tabi.
Yeah.
It's movie or it's
she
not a
believes
Pokemon
in
movie.
Team Rocket, and so they can do anything.
Team Rocket is my Entei.
Yeah.
What's
When you make a
your
big Crystal
Entei?
Palace, it's not Entei, it's just Team Rocket that does your bidding.
Yeah.
And one other thing I need to point out. I had like a bigger take about how like there's a certain point in a lot of like long-running franchises where you can tell like it stopped being something that the original people made and it started being something people who loved the original thing started making, you know? Which is like sort of this
Interesting.
like threshold that you cross for a lot of things. Like with Star Wars, it was all George Lucas until like the Disney era when like people like J.J. Abrams and Rian Johnson stepped in, and you can tell there's a much different approach to it. And
Yeah.
you know, sometimes that's great and sometimes that's bad, because sometimes you can get The Force Awakens and sometimes you can get Jurassic World, and it's like you got to figure out how to do that. But this very much
Nice dunk
feels.
on Jurassic World.
Well, yeah, because Jurassic World fucking blows, and I think we can all be on the same page about
Yeah,
that.
Jurassic World is my least
Yeah.
favorite Star Wars movie.
It... like there's different ways that comes across. My favorite is like you can tell in Marvel Comics there's a moment like in the late 70s, early 80s when it stopped being like just like Stan Lee and Gary Conway and the guys who did it from the very beginning, you know, who've been doing it for like 20 years. All of a sudden you get in this new batch of people, and all of a sudden you get like so many of the most incredible like deconstructions of these characters, people who like grew up with it and finally have an excuse to like work with them professionally. You get like Chris Claremont on X-Men and Frank Miller on Daredevil and Todd McFarlane on Spider-Man. Like all these incredible like beloved comic book runs come out of the 80s when they start letting new people in to like have their own takes on these classic characters. I feel like that is sort of what's happening with the translations in these movies. Like it seems like
I was wondering when you were gonna tie this.
well,
all
yeah,
back together.
I was
because
wondering what the fuck you were talking about.
because like the translations seem to be getting more and more faithful and more understanding of what they're actually trying to get at, you know?
Yeah.
Because I mean, like I said, the very first movie, it was clearly like somebody at 4Kids Entertainment. It's like the Pokemon movie. Who gives a fuck? Like just
Right.
Let me open up Google Translate.
right. They like
Yeah.
clearly didn't give a shit about Pokemon because nobody did yet, you know. And but then
yeah.
like as it got bigger and became more of a thing, I feel like it would have been easier for them to find people who are actually passionate about doing it and are excited about the project to come on and be like, "Oh, let me concentrate on what the best way to
Not actually
translate
do a
this
shit
story
job.
is." Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that makes
Yeah.
sense.
It just made me appreciate how much the first movie fucking blows and how every part of it feels so lazy.
Well, it's like people
Say it.
people all of a sudden were like, "Oh shit, this is like making us a lot of money. Let's
Yeah.
make 50 more of them,
Right.
I think
and
there's
let's
also
try and do better."
I think there's also a threshold that you reach where it's like when you realize with the content that you have, you can actually make something good. If that makes any sense. I feel like
Yeah.
sometimes people are handed things and it's like you have to make, like I have to make Casper the movie. This isn't gonna be good, but I'll make it for Cartoon Network. So I think Pokemon the movie, the first one, was definitely like, we need you to make a movie for this. It's like, okay. And then you get to the third one, and it's like, oh, we could actually make like a good, fun story that we're passionate about. Let's do that.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't know, what I'm talking about specifically is the translation team. I've heard that the Japanese version of the original movie is wildly different.
Yeah,
I believe that.
I didn't think to watch it when we covered it on the podcast, but that was the piece of knowledge that inspired me to start doing it moving forward. I should go back and watch
You're
the
talking about the
Japanese
first
version.
one?
Yeah, the first original
Gotcha.
Pokemon
Yeah.
the first movie, Mewtwo Strikes Back.
So,
So
Mewtwo
like,
and the two unknown towers.
and I don't want to talk shit on the movie itself because I feel like the reality is I haven't actually seen the movie, right?
Yeah.
I've seen like this weird Frankenstein version where they had to put as many like marketable pop songs in it as they could, you know.
Pop songs.
But anyway, another fun thing about the Japanese version of Pokemon 3 is that the little girl, her name is Me.
Me.
Yeah, which is not...
Spelled M-I-I?
No, spelled M-E. Me.
Oh.
Which is not an issue in Japanese, but becomes kind of hilarious when watching in English.
Yeah, that changes it
It
entirely.
turns
It's like,
into
oh fuck,
this,
this
like,
is actually really meta.
Who's
No
on first
shit.
routine, where Ash is like, Charizard, take care of me! And you're like, well, like you or like her? Like, what is... It just makes me laugh.
What do you want from me?
And it's also like a fun coincidence because there's that moment where she spells out the unknown. She says Papa and Mama and me, M-E. And it's like, that's just her name in the Japanese version, but they could still use it in the English version because it still made sense because me was me.
Do you think that like has anything to do with like the concept of like looking at like, oh, words in other languages? Because like when I was like 12 and I was like making stories about these ninjas, I'm like, I'm gonna look up what hope means in Japanese.
Right.
And that's the name of my main character.
Right.
Do you think it has anything to do with that? They were like, oh, what if we did something really interesting? Like, what do you think like the word is for me in English? And they were like, oh, Papa and Mama and me. Cool, awesome,
Wow.
sweet. We got a cool thing going on here. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. I guess I would just have to say why, though.
You
Like,
don't get
Because you
it, Jackson.
They were going for some real experimental stuff in Pokemon 3.
I mean, I guess, I don't know, maybe you're right. I mean, I guess sort of the story does revolve around her being selfish and only looking out for herself. So I guess that could be a thematically
And also the
appropriate.
fact that she's like a 5-year-old girl.
Right.
God, you're being so selfish right now.
But I mean, but that's just
God,
the
me.
reality. Not that...
Yeah.
Your dad died? Whatever, bitch. Like, come on.
Also, I just want to point out, this dad, who's an archaeologist, quote unquote. I don't think
lives in
if
a
you're
mansion.
if you're an above board, above the table archaeologist, you live in a goddamn mansion like that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he does also not have any furniture, so...
I'm
Yeah,
just
that's
saying
an
he
issue.
is.
Empty, cavernous mansion.
I don't think archaeologist is accurate. I think thief is more apt. I think that he is absolutely
Possibly.
stealing cultural artifacts to turn a profit.
Also, I want to say, I watched this entire movie thinking that guy was voiced by Matt Mercer until Jackson told me it wasn't, because it sounded just like him. And
It does.
Yeah.
It totally sounds
It came
like
out
Matt
in
Mercer.
2001. How could it have been Matt Mercer?
Matt Mercer wasn't even born then.
Bro, that sounded nothing like Matt Mercer.
what the fuck are you talking about? It sounded just like him.
Hold on,
I
let
feel
me
like
look it up.
like when he was the dad, it sounded like Matt Mercer, but I totally forgot about it. Like once he was Entei and not dad.
Well, then I am Entei.
Maybe because the acting was so bad, I didn't think it was Matt Mercer.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well,
let's
then
see.
I am into
Okay, but have you seen him in that movie where he's the elephant?
What movie?
I can't remember what it was called. It was like a bad
Like
Netflix
sings
movie.
a song.
And he like has that really terrible song and he plays like the bad guy elephant and it's fucking terrible.
The
I
guy
love
That
who
sounds great.
the guy who plays Entei's name is Dan Green.
Oh,
Well, yeah, I
wow.
mean, I know now because you told me.
Right.
Does he eat saltine crackers for a living?
There he is. See, that guy, that's the guy. He looks like he would cosplay a good Entei.
Also, our roommate Maddie told us that that's the same guy that voices both of the main characters in Yu-Gi-Oh,
Right, I'm seeing that here.
which checks out.
That's hilarious, actually.
What's the deal with Yu-Gi-Oh?
I don't know.
I'm just
Ain't
looking
that the
at looking
question?
at the names of the characters that he plays. He plays Yugi Moto and Yami Yugi, who are presumably different characters.
Yeah.
Well,
Dude,
isn't
Yami is the
Yugi
name
like
of the kid. Wait, no, Yugi is the name of the kid, and then Yami is the name of the pharaoh that like he turns into when he battles, which is an adult. And
Yeah,
it's
that's
not
right.
weird.
and he's
Not
like an
into that.
ancient Egyptian something or other.
Yeah, he's a pharaoh.
Yeah.
Okay, sure,
All I
fine.
know about Yu-Gi-Oh is that
you
one scene
imbecile.
where he gets beaten by a kid, but then he just like kills him with his Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
Oh yeah, I've seen that
That's all
clip.
I know about Yu-Gi-Oh.
The only episode I ever like finished as a child was the one where he gets like trapped in that burning house and like almost dies because he's trying to put the puzzle back together.
Well, the thing I've seen is that the original like source material of Yu-Gi-Oh was like a horror manga.
Yeah, it's
That
like a
was,
super
like-
super intense horror manga.
Right.
Which is so funny.
And then they made a bad anime for children.
Invisible guns.
Hold on. The TV show I'm looking at here is called Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters.
That's
Yeah.
wait.
Is that the one?
thought
Hold on.
Is that not like? Wasn't there like a sequel show or something like that?
There are like 5 sequel shows.
Oh.
It says
I
12
think.
episodes, but that doesn't seem right.
That does not seem right.
Okay, whatever. This
Okay.
is a pointless
My
rabbit
favorite-
hole.
no.
Nobody
One more
wants
thing
to talk about
is
Yu-Gi-Oh.
The best part of Yu-Gi-Oh is what's his name? Is it Kaiba?
I don't know.
Yeah,
Kaiba's my favorite
Seto
character.
Kaiba. He's the
Seto
best part
Kaiba.
of Yu-Gi-Oh. Hands down.
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
If I was a billionaire, I also would make a theme park themed after myself.
Dude, have you seen Eggman?
I have
That's
seen
just like
those.
that's what you do when you have lots of money. I
Seto
guess.
Kaiba is sexy Eggman confirmed.
Yeah.
I always forget that these like Japanese cartoons have like 80 episodes per season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They just fucking crank them out.
Oh, dude, I started watching Sailor Moon, and like I'm never ever going to finish it. It's never gonna happen. There's
Yeah,
like
the
80
worst-
episodes
No.
per season, and there's like 12 seasons. It's never gonna happen.
How do they do that?
They overwork their people really badly.
They overwork their people
Right.
and use the cheapest methods possible.
It's like a huge problem in Japan. People have like died from being overworked making
Right.
animes.
Do they like not have an off season though?
No,
No,
Huh.
I
Just
don't
go all
think
the time.
Well, then why do they split it into seasons? It should just be arbitrary. Like why?
I don't know.
I mean, it kind of is.
I
That's
guess
a really good question.
fair enough. Okay. Anyway, Pokemon 3, the movie, Spell of the
Best movie ever
Unknown.
made.
I let's throw to you guys your opinions on the film.
It
You guys.
rules. It's the best movie ever made.
Okay.
This feels disingenuous.
Okay. You know what's easily the best thing about this movie? Is that scene where we see the Unknown for the first time, and it's like the early 2000s when they were trying to integrate 2D and 3D but had no idea how to do it. So
Yeah.
it's like
I really
Unknown
like
flies
that,
out, and
though.
it's like the most jarring thing you've seen in your entire life.
Yeah, it's cool. They're weird.
But that's what I like about it. Makes the Unknown seem like eldritch horrors because they don't fit into the world at all. Like, it's super
Yeah.
cool.
Oh, and especially like playing into the like eldritch horror thing, like when he gets like just absorbed into this portal and he's screaming like it's the unknown.
So
I'm
good.
like, holy shit. Oh,
It's
Jesus.
dead.
Okay,
Like-
the more that I watched this film, the more that I realized I actually have not ever seen this movie before. I think my brain just like inserted Entei into Pokemon 2000. And like, because like I have this very clear image in my head of like Ash, and he's on a snowy mountainside, and he's there, and then Pikachu's there, and then so is Entei and this little girl. But like that never happens
Right.
in either of those movies.
See,
Did
I
you
saw
see,
this
like, a
movie when
commercial
I
or
was
something?
I don't know, but it's so clear.
I
And
saw
so I'm
this
just
movie
a psychopath.
when I was like maybe like 5 or something. I don't know how old I was. But I was really little. So I only saw it once, I think. So I don't remember like most of it. I just like have these certain scenes that I'll watch and be like, "Oh my god, fucking sense memories."
I know. Like,
Yeah.
when all the, like, clicky-clacky tiles, like, hit the floor, I'm like,
Right?
oh, the clicky-clacky tiles.
I love that.
Anna, what were your preferred Pokemon movies as a kid?
I didn't watch the movies or the show as much as I played the games because we didn't have cable, so we like couldn't watch most of it. I think this one and the one with Mewtwo were the only ones I actually saw. But
You didn't have
We
any VHSs or anything?
nah.
Oh my
We
god.
got those
VHSs.
garage sale Pokemon tapes, bruh.
You definitely.
We had a collection. This was back in the day when I guess they would just put out a VHS that had 3 episodes of Pokemon on it.
Yeah.
I have those.
Yeah.
I have several of those.
So we had like a handful of those, and we had the big plastic clamshell case for Pokemon 3, the movie.
Nice.
Which, I'm sorry, I know it's kind of a bit that I keep saying Pokemon 3, the movie, but just that's what it's called, and I feel like that's
It really is.
ridiculous. But this was the only movie we had on VHS, and we would catch all the other movies on TV whenever on like Cartoon Network, but like this was the one that we would watch like all the time, and it came with an Unown J Pokemon card in it, and I was very excited about that because my name was Jackson, so I was like,
It's a
hell yeah, it's
sign.
meant to
That's
be.
It's a sign.
I
yeah,
got the
you're the
J.
chosen one.
And yeah, and I don't know, it's weird because like this movie, I mean, like we said, is like way more high concept than any of the other ones.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's so
It really
weird
is.
that like this one is clearly like the most developed one, at least of the first 3. And like it just
Yeah.
happened to be the one that we had, and the one that it seems like nobody else really ever saw. So
Yeah.
like our diet of Pokemon cinema was just like much more upper crust than most people, I guess.
Yeah,
Than most people's diet of Pokemon cinema.
Right.
Well, because I don't think I've ever, like, seen the second Pokemon movie. Like, I've seen the first one, and I've seen the third one 10 billion times, but, like, I don't think I've ever
Yeah.
seen the second one, because I don't think they ever, like, played it on Cartoon Network, just because it was one of the, like, older ones.
Yeah.
You
Also
mean
'cause-
besides a month ago when we watched it for the podcast, Adeline?
Well, yes, that's duh, Jackson.
Okay, just
I
checking.
mean, as a child, I had never seen it, but it's just like it's because it's bad. Like it's not good. It doesn't make any sense what they're doing. It's like a D&D quest that someone threw together at the last second, where they're like, "Oh, you gotta get the orbs, kid." Like it doesn't
Yeah.
make any sense.
Dude,
And then they could jump to this one
Yeah,
with so much
retelling
heart
of
and
D&D
emotion, and I cry.
Retelling of D&D campaigns like never works out the way you want it to.
Yeah, exactly. This is like someone like telling me about a D&D campaign that they did like a year ago, and in the moment it was really, really cool, but now they have to like think of all the details and they kind of forgot half of it.
Yeah, and it's like super out of context, all of it, but then when they try to give you the context, it's like more than you actually like want to know about.
And it's not
Yeah,
context that
you're
helps
like,
the story that
I
they're
believe
telling.
you that it was cool, but I'm bored as hell.
Yeah.
The only time that you can tell people about your D&D campaign is if you're telling them about, like, stuff that other people would have D&D perspective on.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
oh, we used
Yeah.
this spell in battle this way, because other people, like, know what that would mean.
Right.
Right.
But, like, telling people
exactly.
about the story, like, pretty much never works.
Yeah.
But
But Adeline, the way that you feel about like the second movie is exactly the way that I feel about this one. Because like I thought I had seen it, I actually have not, and so I just like I went into this movie having like an idea of what it was gonna be, and then just being super wrong.
But this one's good.
yeah,
It is
rips,
good.
rips.
It's
Kill
really,
you.
I feel like while it is like really well developed and it's like infinitely more interesting, right, than like the first two.
Yeah.
There's still like the appropriate amount of like plot holes in it
And
though.
bad acting, yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
really concerned about the turn we have taken on this podcast. About
What
how
turn is that?
now
The
suddenly
slander.
Tabi is the one being overly critical of a Pokemon movie that we love for no reason. And I'm just
I don't
I'm
think
upset
it's
about
bad.
this.
And listen, I'm right and you're wrong, and that's where we're at.
Only Tabby's opinions about Pokemon movies matter.
Yes.
I also want to point
no,
out
that's not true.
that the last thing I have written down about like the differences between the two versions are that the like opening sequence, they definitely let it play out a little bit longer in the Japanese version. Like You could just
Yeah.
tell that, like, in the English version, there's, like, a second cut off, like, the beginning and end of each shot each time. Because it's like, this is for kids. Like, this is the sad part, and they're like, that. We gotta, like, just get through that, and they don't give a shit. Like, we gotta show them some Pokemon, you know?
Yeah.
But, like,
Yeah.
I feel like there's more, like, genuine weight to the like, loss of her dad in the Japanese version. Like, you get to sort of sit with
Yeah.
it for a little while longer. And
Yeah.
it just feels
This
a little bit
movie
more...
just, like, barrels through the emotional stuff in the beginning.
right.
Yeah.
Which
I
is
was
kind
wondering.
of brutal the way that they do it.
Yeah, I mean, it was probably like, all right, what do we have to cut for time so this can go on TV?
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. But it just makes it kind of brutal that it's like, oh, here's her dad. They like Entei. Oh, they're so sweet together. He's dead now. She's crying. She's being possessed by the unknown. Here's Ash. And it's like, oh, Jesus, okay.
Pokemon 3, the Entei story.
Pokemon the movie. Let's go.
I did feel like the beginning, like, yeah, I felt like the pacing was really weird, so that makes
Yeah.
a lot of sense.
Yeah, I agree with that.
It was like, God, this is just happening, like, so quickly. Like, I haven't had time to adjust to, like, watching this movie at all. I, like, just sat down.
Right.
I do.
There is the one shot where she, like, walks in to, like, the lab assistant, and the guy's like, oh, I guess I have to tell her. Where there's that, like, wide shot where you can just see them on, like, opposite ends of the screen. And the Japanese version holds that for, like, a solid, like, 2 or 3 seconds. But it's, like just nothing in the American version. Because, I don't know, it's such a weird thing that, like, it seems like whenever people are Americanizing things, especially for kids, they're always like, no, that's sad. Just fuck that. No, like,
Boring.
get to the cool part. Boring, yeah.
Which is dumb.
Yeah.
Like, that's important to the story, and it's important to show kids those things.
Well,
Like,
what I always think
teach
about is
them-
that I don't understand that because they're always like kids won't sit through like the sad parts because it's not as entertaining as like the happy parts or whatever. But then I
Right.
think of like Bambi, which is like maybe the saddest
Yeah.
animated movie ever.
Or, like,
And, like-
How to Train Your Dragon 2.
Yeah.
Right? Like, dude, those films are, like, amazing.
I mean,
Why are you laughing at me?
I was gonna say Up, but okay.
But also think about when you were a kid watching movies, how often you would just, like, skip over parts that were sad or boring because you just didn't really care.
Never.
I
Like-
never did that.
I never
what is
did that.
wrong with you?
I don't believe you.
You did
no,
that,
for
Jackson?
reals.
Say again?
You did that, Jackson?
Yes. Like, you're saying that when you would watch movies as a kid, you would never think, like, oh, this is the part where Aladdin and Jasmine are talking or whatever, and, like, the genie's not here and it's not funny and I don't care about it, really. That
I
never
liked other
crossed your
parts
mind.
more than other parts, but I wouldn't check out just because the genie wasn't on screen.
When it's
Yeah, I
the
never
40th
did that.
time you've seen Aladdin, you guys are all lying.
Because I like Aladdin and Jasmine, so I like it when they talk.
Listen, I watched Monsters Inc. on a loop for like 3 years, and I never
Right.
skipped any of it.
Jackson, you're the odd one out here.
Okay, fine, whatever. But still,
Jackson
though.
hates cinema.
Oh,
But
also,
you were
sorry if
never,
I'm-
like... You were never, like, uncomfortable at movies that would, like, be too genuine or too emotional at points that never
No.
bothered you as a kid?
Dude, that's like so important to
I
like
loved
expose
that shit
kids
when I was a
to
kid.
those
Okay,
like
whatever.
feelings and emotions. Like the problem with like America doing that to kids is like that's such a good way to teach them about like oh shit, like dealing with loss, like with
How to
with
handle your
Molly and
emotions.
stuff. Yeah, like this is how you don't handle emotions. This is how you handle your emotions. It's like it's so important.
But also, like, I
God,
loved
Jackson.
sad parts in movies when I was a kid. I lived for that shit.
yeah,
I'm rolling my eyes at all of you guys.
Also, sorry if I randomly clap on this end. I have a gnat that's flying around my head, and I'm trying to get it. So if I randomly clap, that's why.
You know, most people would just ignore that instead of ruining their podcast audio.
Jackson,
It
you are
tried to
bringing
fly
a
up my nose
hostile energy
twice.
to the work environment. See, the only movie that I've ever had like a really like visceral reaction to like the emotions in it was the first Tinkerbell movie near the end where like the evil purple fairy, her name's like Tornado or whatever, where she like ruins spring for everybody and she blames Tinkerbell. And, like, everybody is just, like, so freaking, like, disappointed and mad at Tinkerbell, and Tinkerbell doesn't know what's going on, and she's just, like, crying, and, like, that messed me up as a kid. I didn't know what to think about that.
That's so interesting. I never watched those films.
I watched the first one, and then I got to the age where I thought Tinkerbell was stupid, and I haven't gotten out of that phase yet.
Well, I hope you see the light again sometime
All right,
soon.
great.
And I just want to be clear. I'm not
So sorry.
I'm not arguing that it is bad to have strong emotions in kids' movies. I'm just acknowledging the reality that most of the time as a kid, you don't fully engage with them or understand them as you should.
That's a good point. I think you're right about that.
I also think it's so interesting the different like pop songs they use in the Japanese versus the American versions, because like they always are so much better in the Japanese versions because they just seem like a popular song that they put in a movie, which is not my favorite thing, but is definitely better than a song that was crafted in a marketing tank to appeal to a specific demographic of kids, to like just get that perfect genre of butt rock so that kids will buy the CD at Toys R Us, you know?
Yeah.
At least this song for this fight is at least like upbeat enough to be like adjacent to a fight scene. Like that's how low the bar is. Like at least it works even a little bit.
It's not Brother, My Brother.
Yeah.
Brother, my brother. I think you're crazy. I thought that was a great song.
I think all of you are wrong.
I'm being such a pill today. I don't know why. I'm so sorry.
Tammy's like, you know, Pokemon 3, I feel like the opening was really rushed. I didn't quite get a full sense of what it was supposed to... Oh, Mewtwo Strikes Back? No, when they sing that Eagle-Eyed Cherry song when the Pokemon are all fighting, that rips. I love when the Pikachu slap each other and they're crying. That's not funny at all to me.
Why are you booing me? I'm right.
When the Pokemon are crying and hitting each other, I'm crying. I'm also crying and hitting someone else.
God damn it.
See, what's good about this movie being fast-paced, though, is that I feel like we do get to, like, Ash and friends doing things. Like, I don't know, it feels more organic that, like, the Ash and gang are here. Like, they're like, oh, we travel around and we travel to this town and something weird is going on here, so we're gonna fix it, and then they get more involved when, like, Ash's mom gets kidnapped and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Not to dunk on the second movie, just this whole episode, but, like, it didn't feel believable that they were there for, like, any real reason. Like, we're like, oh, we're on a boat. Oh, our boat crashed? Oh, there's a town? Oh, there's this... Oh, I'm the chosen one? Like, it didn't make any sense for why they were helping, but in this one, it seems really natural that they're, like, immediately involved in the story of what's going on.
They get sucked into the conflict,
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Because it has something
Yeah,
to do
that
with
does make
them
a lot of
and their characters and their lives,
Yeah.
rather than just being like, oh, no way, a fun thing?
Some orbs?
I have to do it, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm strong enough to do it. I need your guys' help. Hey, Ash doesn't cry in this movie, does he?
No, he doesn't.
No, Molly
he doesn't.
does.
No Ash
Molly
crying.
cries. Molly cries enough for the rest of us.
Yeah.
I also like this like funky exposition method they have where they just like have these reporters around and you can kind of like listen in to like what the reporters are saying like on the scene.
I like that everybody is watching the news too.
Well,
like,
yeah.
The only reason that Molly knows that Ash is like getting into her house because she's just like on her computer watching the news.
Right.
Well,
Which is
These
really
days.
fun.
on the subject of like that like little computer thing she had, I thought that was her dad's computer because he like received an email on
A
it.
work
Right.
email.
Yeah, don't worry
Yeah,
about
it's like this cutesy little like pink, cute little laptop that you'd have if you were a 5-year-old girl. I probably had something that looked very similar to that. And then like, oh, it's probably your coworker Skylar, isn't it? On my computer.
on my baby laptop.
It's like a Barbie laptop. It's like, here's the secret files for the ancient Eldritch horror gods.
Yeah. She just like gets on his like personal laptop and is just like boop boop boop. I'm gonna pull up all these things and I'm gonna knock over this box of ancient artifacts.
Look, there's a lady from my childhood. She's my mom now.
Yeah. Oh boy.
I do think that the way that this movie handles its quote-unquote villain is really effective, because, like, for a really long time, Molly is the antagonist, but they do a good job of, like,
Making her
Ash and the
sympathetic.
gang don't treat Molly like a villain like they do with the other villains, and mostly because the other villains have been stupid, but, like, when we have, like, a real, like, antagonist, but she's a little girl, she's not evil, she's doing bad things, but she's not Mr. I'm gonna steal all the big birds. So, like,
Yeah.
I like it when, like, she's, like, fighting with, like, Brock and with Misty, where Brock and Misty are, like, being nice and trying to encourage her, and they're not just trying to kill her or whatever, like they do with other people.
I'm always a sucker for stories that have, like, ambiguous, like, villain scenarios, I guess. And, like,
Absolutely.
I like that about this, because it's, like, it's not really her fault. Her parents died and she's 5. Like,
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
This movie always makes me think, like, when everybody's, like, watching the news because the fucking city got encased in crystal, and they're like, that's so wild. Why don't we get stuff like that in real life? Whenever there's something big on the news, it's always, like, 9/11. So, like, it's not fun.
are you saying why don't we ever have cities that are encased in crystal by
Yeah.
an ancient Pokemon?
Wasn't
Not even-
9/11 more exciting?
Not even specifically
9/11's
that. Well,
so
9/11's no
boring.
fun. It's a national tragedy. I want something that's like, oh, check out this crazy shit that's happening somewhere. I don't want to see Chernobyl. I want to see, like, oh man,
Like-
there's a crazy. I guess maybe like the Chilean miners is the closest thing to that.
You don't like
Like-
the elephant foot? You don't like that?
I'm just saying there should be big crazy things that happen that we all follow on the news more often that
What
aren't
about when
presidential
there was that
assassinations.
giant rubber duck in the river?
That was pretty good.
That
That
was,
was a
yeah,
good
that was
one.
fun.
What about when that one person made a really big pizza? What about that?
That was a major world event.
It was.
And we were
Jackson
all
was
watching the
glued to their
news.
TVs.
Speaking of that, did you see Watsky rap for 33 hours?
Dude,
No.
That fucking ruled.
are you kidding me? Yeah, he was doing like a fundraiser for like musicians that like whose like world tours got like canceled.
He broke
or
the world
something.
record and rapped for 33 consecutive hours. It was
And
awesome.
he freestyled. Freestyle?
I mean, you would have to,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. Who's
it was awesome.
gonna write 33 hours of rap?
Right.
Of
Yeah.
rap, yeah.
At what point
was
did it
dope.
get, like, really bad, though? Like, there's gotta be a point
I mean,
where you
that's
start
the thing,
rhyming,
though,
like, house with a mouse, because you're just out of things to
he
say.
got tired, but he sounded fucking good at the end. It was
Well, that's
bizarre.
good.
Oh, at the end, yeah, he like really got into it like in the last like 10 minutes. Like his tiredness had just like he was so
Given him
past that
strength.
point that he was just fueled. And yeah, it was cool.
Yeah.
I
It was really fun.
There's a moment that doesn't exactly happen in the American version, but in the Japanese version, Ash's mom is like, "Oh, that's our old friend. Do you remember him?" And Ash is like, "Yeah, you were friends in college. Didn't you say he used to help you with your homework?" And I was like, "Oh, they were fucking for real."
Yeah, right? No, I thought the
Didn't
same
you
thing.
say, "Oh, mom, didn't you say you used to mow your lawn? Didn't you used to plow your mound?"
Well, because there's that moment when she's talking to Professor Oak, and he's like, "You've known each other since you were schoolgirls, right?" And she's like, "Yeah, I did." It's like implied that they like definitely dated or something, but it's
Yeah.
not. It's not that.
Yeah, when she was like, "Oh no, Spencer doesn't deserve this." I was like, "Oh."
Oh, I see.
They fell out of touch.
See, listen, I would ship it, except his wife randomly comes back at the end of the movie.
Oh wait, I wasn't able to watch through like the whole credits scene because I was like rushing to give Anna her computer back.
Yeah,
and
the mom
stuff.
comes back.
Like,
She's fine.
So the dad and the mom comes back.
Yep.
And like everything's okay.
Yeah,
Yep.
the mom was floating around in a void for 2 years, but she's fine.
She's fine. It's like Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Right.
She's fine.
There was they don't mention the mom at all in the Japanese version. That's not a thing.
I kind of prefer that, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I mean, you don't have to like know that something happened.
Right.
Well, it creates an absence for Ash's mom to fill. Like, it makes more sense if she knows nothing about her mom, and then to just see this woman who she sees as the ideal mom, and then kind of just like being like, that's what my mom is like, because I don't know my mom. But when she does know her mom, it just feels weird. It's like,
right.
This is my mom now. I know that this other lady is my mom, but like I want this one.
Right.
Yeah, that was really weird.
And like you could kind of brush it off as like, oh well, she's 5.
Yeah.
Right. But at the same time, like,
she's got pictures.
Like, I have, like, a 6-year-old little stepbrother, and, like, I don't think he would do that at all.
Yeah. Well, I think what you could really, because she's got those 2 pictures, and one picture is her whole family and Ash's family and, like, Professor Oak, and then the other one is just her dad, and her mom. And I feel like if you got rid of the picture of her dad, and her mom, then it would make sense if she, like, actually thinks that Ash's mom is her mom, because she just has that picture. I think that would have been really effective, but they don't do that.
Yeah.
But it's still a great film, Tabi.
Okay, wait, I'm gonna say something good about it. The part where Ash's mom is like being like hypnotized by Entei, and she's you know, they're all sitting like in her bedroom and stuff, and they're watching the news, and Ash is like climbing up the waterfall, and she like has that moment of clarity, and the first thing that she says is like, Ash, you get down there this instant! Yeah. That was very good.
Yeah, that was funny.
Well, and
I like
that
the moment when she
Laugh
first
really
shows up and she says hi to Pikachu, and then Ash runs up and she's like, "Oh, hi, Ash."
Oh, hi, Ash.
Oh yeah, oh my god, that line delivery
Hey,
was
sweetie.
so good.
Yeah.
Oh hey Ash.
I do really like, though, that whole sequence where it's like this weird little heist montage where they're like getting into the castle, because like not only is it like a fun and creative use of Pokemon, but it's cool that like that Pokemon battle at the beginning with that anonymous trainer, like, functions as sort of a primer, you know? It's like, it serves a purpose in the sense that it shows you exactly what Pokemon Ash has and, like, what they can do, so that when they come back later, you recognize it. It's like the scene in John Wick 2 where they show you exactly which guns John Wick is buying from Peter Serafinowicz. Like, it's just like good storytelling, you know? I appreciated that.
Yeah, I just wish that Ash threw his Pokemon once he was done with them more.
Yeah.
You know, like it runs out of vines or whatever, and he just like picks it up and like throws it at somebody.
what? Oh,
like
okay,
John
that's
Wick.
what you mean. Like John Wick. Okay, I
like
got
John
it. I
Wick
got
and his
that.
guns.
This bitch empty.
Yeet.
I do.
Yeah, do you think that in like the movies and in the show, Pokemon like ever like run out of moves?
No.
Well, like, because you know in the games,
In the game, you
the
got
games-
limited moves.
and you're like, what? You like run out of what is it called? Is it
The power
PP?
points.
Yeah.
PowerPoints?
PP.
Yeah. You don't think that happens?
No, it
movies?
doesn't, because that would be unsatisfying in a narrative story.
No, it would be an interesting restriction that you have to get creative and like think around.
As soon as you start trying to put RPG mechanics in a narrative story like this, it never turns out the way you think it's going to. Remember in Detective Pikachu when that guy was like, critical hit, additional damage? That's what it would be like.
I think you're right on that one, actually.
Okay, do you know what I love
think
though?
You're right.
I love that like in these like intense Pokemon battles where they're talking about how Ash is such a fantastic trainer. I love that the moves that they're using are like notoriously the shittiest moves.
I know.
Yeah, like
Right.
tackle.
And that's what I like. They're not going out of their way to try to make it like the video game, you know?
I guess
It's
that's
like,
fair.
as soon as you start to be like, oh, a Pokemon can only know 4 moves, it's like, what? That doesn't make any sense. Why? Why can't he just hit him? Like, why they need to have, like, restrictions on their ability to fight like that? It doesn't make any sense. Like, to me, it's like, oh, it's Onyx, he's a big guy, uses tackle, will probably fuck you up. Like,
That's
I'm
fair,
fine
yeah.
with that, yeah.
Well, but no, what I mean when I say that is that, like, they know that there are higher evolved forms of the Pokemon that he uses. Therefore, those evolved forms must be stronger than this form.
That's
And
why
yet
Ash
he's-
is the best trainer.
But this, I'm just saying, this does look very strong.
I mean,
Looks
like,
kinda
Ash
weak.
is still, like, at this point running around with, like, just
Babies.
a fuck ton of, like, starter Pokemon.
Yeah, that's why he's the best trainer. And he can beat everybody with him.
But speaking of that, though, I loved how they started this movie with, like, the next, starter Pokemon. Are those the starter Pokemon for, Gold and Silver?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they are, but
I
it
like
is. They
that.
also he has them before. It's just how the TV show has been progressing.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess just from jumping, like, from movie to movie,
Right.
I suppose, it was, like,
Like, ignoring
because
the
there
TV show.
were only, like, you know, Generation 1 Pokemon in
Right.
Pokemon 2000. And then, like, you start this one, and all of a sudden, here's, like, Danphy, the little elephant guy, and Cyndaquil, and Totodile, which sounds like Donald Duck for some reason.
Oh yeah,
And you're like, oh, fuck yeah! I know, that was just really that was fun.
Cyndaquil's like noise it makes when it shoots fire is so funny.
It's adorable.
See, I think this movie really captures how little girls play Pokemon. Because as a little girl, I didn't know what to do with any of the Pokemon. I just had the ones I like. So I like when
Yeah,
Molly
same.
gets up to battle and she's like, go!
Teddy
Electric
Ursa!
Sheep character! like, Teddy Ursa! And
Yeah.
he's like, oh, it makes sense that you like a cute one. And she's like, no, it's actually really strong. And it's like, no, it's not, but you know.
It's really not Molly, but okay.
I really
Like,
love.
the way
in
that
the-
I played Pokemon when I was little is I just tried to fill up my my Pokemon computer with as many Marill as possible, and I did that.
In the Japanese version, in the score, there's like a really good music cue when Teddy Ursa gets sent out for the first time. She's like, "Go, Teddy Ursa!" And the music's just like, boom. And you're like, "Oh shit, Teddy Ursa!"
Holy shit!
But I know that I think Adeline, I think you were the one that already mentioned this. But I fucking loved how they were like treating Molly.
Yeah.
It was so sweet. It was really cute.
Because
Like, especially with like Misty in her. Like, I mean, this might just be
Yeah.
me projecting onto Molly, but like, I don't know. I really like that, like, that kind of like female connection of like, because she's a little girl and she's like, oh, I could be a Pokemon trainer. Oh, I have to be an adult. Oh, I see Misty. That means that I can be a kid and also do this. But I also like to see it's like, oh, I can also be a little girl and do this because Misty is doing it. Like, I just really like that. I like the positive role model that Misty is.
yeah,
Yeah.
But it's also
She
fun
is.
that,
She's
like,
great.
in that fight, she, like, learns that... Because when it comes to Brock, she's just, like, fucking wiping the floor with him. She's just like, oh,
Yeah.
here's a Phanpy, it'll kill you. Because I have ultimate power and I can just do that. Like, fuck you.
Right. And
But-
he's like just basically being polite. At this
Right.
point.
Yeah.
But then when she fights Misty, like, she, like, puts up more of a fight and she, like, sort of starts to, like, understand that, like, part of the fun is like, having competition and, like, actually having it be close and, you know, being, like, genuinely competitive with people. I think it's a fun way to, like, show her, like, learning what is actually fun about sports
real
or, like,
life.
Pokemon battles. Yeah.
Yeah, or like being a trainer.
I have a question for you guys.
Yeah.
So, like, Pokemon battle stadiums, there's, like, a court, right?
Yeah.
Why?
because
Why
it
is there
looks
a court?
cool.
Why are there lines? It's not dodgeball. Like, you can go into each other's sides. Why do we need, like, guidelines on the court for anything?
think
Well, it's just to
Probably-
contain it.
Because it
Yeah, I
makes
think
it
it's probably just to like simulate like sports.
look less like a dog fight.
Yeah.
Right, it's true.
Yeah.
But
Like
it's because
why-
you have to have, like, this is the fight zone, this is where the people stand, this is where the Pokemon go. Because if the Pokemon could just go anywhere, then anybody could just get hit by a bolt of lightning and die. at
Yeah, I
any
mean,
point.
nobody
That's
wants
the
to
point.
watch, like, all right, it's time to go into the rules of the Pokemon sport.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just saying
This
it's
is
weird
free,
that they're, like,
boys.
split into two halves like it's tennis. Like,
Yeah, maybe that was a design choice because they're like, oh, we can have a circle in the middle and then a line.
It'll
you know,
look like a
goes to the
Pokeball.
middle right courts and it look like a Pokeball. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe there's no
Um,
points, maybe it just looks cool, Jackson.
I also wrote
But
down
it's
that,
like, why? What? Wait.
Okay.
I have a good point to make here. Why in Sword and Shield is it a soccer stadium?
Because they probably also
Because
play
it's
soccer
fun.
there.
No.
Soccer
No,
doesn't
because
exist.
it's fun, because it's cool.
It's not
Because
actually a
just
soccer
games.
stadium, is it? I think it's just a regular...
It's supposed to look like a soccer stadium.
Hold
No, I
on.
think it has to be big for the big Pokemon.
Listen, it has
The
to be
big
soccer
events.
because it's in England.
Yeah. And they all have to be wearing jerseys
Football.
because it's soccer.
And people have to say things like, "What's all this then?"
And hello.
No, yeah, the
They have
stadiums
to
in
have
Sword
the
and
little
Shield
plaid
aren't...
hats with the puffballs on them.
They're not soccer stadiums. They are the same. They just like are split into two, and there's like a Pokeball in the middle.
Listen.
They're different. But these ones too. They're like split in half for some reason. I mean, I guess it makes more
Because
sense in
it's
a video
you
game
versus
because that's
them.
physically where your Pokemon are. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think it's for the sake of sports. Is my short answer. What do you think, Jackson?
I think I wrote down in my notes that the Japanese voice actor for Meowth sounds like Doodle Bob. Yeah, that's what it sounds like. It's no good.
Was it?
God, I love Team Rocket in this movie.
There's also
The
some
virus
weird.
So fucking useless.
There's some weird business in this movie with like the book after like the opening scene. Like there's that one moment where like
Yeah.
Ash's mom looks at the book that falls open to a certain page and it looks like crystally and scary and she's like, but like I don't know what
you
that
totally-
was.
I think
Yeah,
it's
you
just
totally
showing that
expect
this is where
her.
this is where Molly is getting these images from, because like she opens it up and it looks like that beach with all the flowers and there's like a girl there, and then we see the area that they're in, it's the beach and the flowers, and she turns into a girl there. Like it's just
Right.
this is where
And
she's
it's
getting
like-
all the images from.
And that's where the Unown are getting the images from, where Molly is getting the images from.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
like,
Like,
that's
make
why
the
that's why
reality,
Entei is here, because Entei's in the book.
Right. But I also, like, I half expected Ash's mom to, like, find some sort of, like, clue or, like, resolution or, like, you know, answer to something, because it was giving, like, so much attention to, like, her looking at the book. But, like, no, she just, like, looks at it and she's like, ah! And then nothing happens.
I want
Right,
her to
yeah.
like turn the page.
Yeah.
It's just like written like how to blow up the Unown, and she's like, oh.
A step-by-step process.
I also think it's also funny that in the American version, like the dialogue goes so far out of its way to explain what the Unknown do to you so many times.
Yeah.
There's like 40 times where they're like, the Unknown exists in a dream dimension and they can make things a reality. Or, that's why they can do that. I know you're confused about why this is happening, but it's because the Unknown exists in a different dimension and they leak through into ours. And you're like, I don't give a fuck.
I don't
like-
care.
They're
I
Pokemon.
don't give a fuck. I just want to see Entei shoot a fireball at Team Rocket again.
Right. Like, they're Pokemon. They have powers. They all do. I saw that they could change the world around them at will. Cool. I got it. They don't feel like they need to say that 80 times in the Japanese version. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know why they feel like they need to, like, really hold our hands on that general
Yeah, they're
idea.
worried
The
you're not
Unknown
gonna
are going
get
to
it.
break the willing suspension of disbelief in this audience that's watching the Pokemon movie.
Right.
That being
I feel
said,
like-
the fucking end fight between Charizard and Entei, Jesus,
Entai.
And die.
Entei
There it is.
is dope
It had
as
to
hell.
happen.
It slaps.
I'm sorry it was you, Adeline.
I'm bad at talking, and then you said Entei, and then I forgot that it was called Entei. So, move on.
I don't know how I feel about Charizard just, like, showing up at the end. Like,
At least
Yeah,
they
like-
establish it.
yeah, like randomly near the beginning, they're just like, here's Charizard doing his thing. He's watching TV, like everyone else in this movie. They're all watching TV. And then he
Yeah.
flies over, and then 40 minutes later, he shows up. And you're like, I guess you did, like, the minimum amount of, like, work for this to be some kind of payoff. But, like,
Yeah.
You know, the problem is like, for me, as someone who, like, never, like, watched the show like that religiously, besides, like, those episodes that would come on VHSs, like, I don't know what the fuck is happening?
Yeah.
It's like, well, why is he there? Why isn't he with Ash?
What's
right?
with
He was
this
in obedience
Charizard with
school.
eyelashes and a pink bow?
Yeah, who's this pretty lady that's just surrounded by Charizards? Like,
He has to go to Charizard obedience school because he's an asshole.
is that actually what happens? Because
Yes.
I would believe that.
Because he
I
never
love that.
listens to him. He gets the Charmander and he evolves into Charizard and he becomes too big for his britches and keeps telling Ash to go fuck himself. So he's like, I have to put my foot down, Charizard. You gotta go to boarding school. Like, you're going to the military academy, Charizard. You need to learn some discipline.
Listen, Charizard had a hard life. He was abandoned as a boy.
I've always really liked. I've always really liked Charizard just being like an asshole.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there's also the Charizard there that has like the makeup on and like the bow.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
Yeah, it's the lady
Like, what
Charizard.
is that?
Yeah, she's my favorite.
The
What
girl
makes me
has a
laugh is that-
Charizard. It has to be a girl Charizard.
Well, it makes me
Yeah.
laugh about it. It's like, you could just give her eyelashes and I would know that she's a girl. You don't have to put a bow on her. Like, I get
She's
it.
pretty. She's beautiful.
She looks like
just
the dragon from
expressing
Shrek.
herself.
She's got, like, lipstick on.
Imagine if you were just walking down the street and you were like, okay, like, I know you're a girl. You don't have to wear a dress like that.
Okay, but if I
God.
saw someone who put mascara and a bow on their dog to make sure that I knew that it was a girl, I would be like,
You
"That's
wouldn't
too
think
much."
twice about it.
No, I wouldn't
Did
think twice.
you?
I would think several times.
Did you just misgender my dog? I can't take credit for that joke. That's somebody else. I don't remember who.
I
think
like
it's
that
the
they solved the
internet.
problem at the end by just blowing up the Unown and, like, everything's
Yeah.
fixed.
They
Like,
deserve it.
God, the Unown have always been, like, really confusing to me. Like, ever since I was a kid. I kind of don't get it.
Like
They
what
told
they
you
are.
like 40 times!
I know, I still don't get it.
Well, no, it's like, are they legendary Pokemon? Why do they exist in this
Well, yeah,
weird
but
hell
they're-
dimension? Why do they keep sucking people into the hell dimension? Like, I don't know
They're-
what they function as.
Why do you need
I mean, I
answers
guess
for that?
also-
They do.
Because I'm interested. I want to know. Because you're like, we talked about the legendary Pokemon. They're like, they're super rare and not a lot of people have seen them, but they still believe in them and they're still around. Like Entei and Suicune and whatever the other one's called. Like, there's just like, there's like these super rare Pokemon around that people believe in. And it's like, okay, cool. But then we immediately introduce the Unown, and they're not like that at all. They're from a hell dimension, and they're like this ancient unspoken language that if you touch their things, you get teleported to Hellscape. So, like, what the hell's going on with that?
You just said what the hell's going on with that. You described
No, I
it.
didn't.
Like,
Why do they do that? What's their function?
Why
Are they
do you
just
need to
Eldritch
know?
Horrors? Like, what are they? They're not legendary Pokemon because they don't follow the same rules as the legendary Pokemon.
I guess like a part of their appeal is that they're like really creepy and like hard to understand.
Yeah,
right?
it's 'cause
Yeah.
they're
That's like
unknown.
Yeah. You guys can go
I-
fuck yourselves. Anna and I are gonna go have fun in our unknown zone.
Yeah, our unknown zone.
That's fine.
You don't have to know why because it's unknown.
It's unknown.
Into the unknown. Into the unknown.
Okay, hold on, super quick. Can we talk about the song that plays over the credits?
I know.
Oh my god.
I didn't
Yeah.
even hear it. What
Which
was
is
it?
like, where do our souls go when they die? Why is the sky blue? Why is there
Are
magic in a
Is
kiss?
there life on other planets?
I don't have to know. You guys could take a lesson from that song.
Yeah.
She's happy not knowing.
Why does water taste good?
God.
Why does grass grow?
Why?
Why did my parents make my middle name Eric?
What?
I don't know any Erics.
Why do I feel physically attracted to my cousins sometimes? We may never know.
We may never know. It may just remain
A mystery.
unknown, Jackson. Get with it.
Jesus.
Okay, stop. Shut up. Anna and I are gonna make our own podcast and about the unknown, and the music goes here. Start the music now, Jackson. Okay, so this is our new podcast, The Unknown Zone, with Jackson and Anna.
Yeah.
Where you just like look into the camera and shrug your shoulders and go,
No, Adeline, shut up. You're not in this podcast. Anna, which is your favorite unknown out of all of them?
A.
A? You like the unknown A?
Yes,
I
I do.
like the unknown G because it doesn't look anything like a G.
Yeah, I think that's the one that always trips me up when I'm trying to
That's
like
my
read them.
favorite one. There's also the very blasé exclamation point and question mark. They're pretty good.
Yeah, I like those too. Because
like
doesn't the question mark have its eye is like half closed?
Yeah, they've got like a half lowered eyelid because like they're really unimpressed with you and your whole shit. Just coming in here and catching a bazillion unknown.
Yeah.
They're pretty good ones. My favorite thing about the unknown is that they can only learn one attack and it sucks.
My favorite thing about the unknown is how they suck people into their hell dimension.
So what was your first unknown memory, Anna?
I don't know. It's unknown.
Okay, well mine was when I was a kid. I got Pokemon Gold version because I found it in a parking lot. That's how I got Pokemon Gold version. It was just that we were at a pumpkin patch.
I
and
remember
found
your copy of Gold.
And I found an old. No, this is a different one because that one broke eventually.
I know. I think you still. I think you showed it to me once. Like you had like a shitty old Gold cartridge.
I don't think that's right. Maybe I just told you about it and you're adding a memory. Anyway,
Perhaps.
I found Pokemon Gold in the parking lot of a pumpkin patch, and I was really confused by the section where you had to go through the unknown cave, and I couldn't figure it out. It was a weird puzzle. Anyway, this has been the Unknown Zone with Jackson and Anna.
Thank you and good night.
This is a new weekly segment that we will be recording every week
Yep.
for our podcast. Thank you.
They're talking in the chat.
They're talking about the unknown, which is cheating.
Yeah, because they're not allowed in the unknown zone. Only we are.
Yeah, we are the unknown zone, and you guys can talk about something else. We're not in the unknown zone anymore. You can talk to us now.
But you can't talk about unknowns.
No, unknown zone is just for Jackson and Anna. This is a bad bit for a podcast.
I wonder if you can hear them typing in the audio, if we can pull that out.
Just like,
God damn it. That is one of the funniest bits any of us has ever executed. And there's no way to make it play on a podcast. Tabi asked, did you ever try to memorize the unknown alphabet? And then Adeline said, my trick is to set it to Twinkle Twinkle Little Star.
Just put that on the Twitter. It works.
Yeah. I mean, the unknown look like letters. You don't have to memorize anything, do you?
Jackson?
They look like English letters.
we have exited the unknown zone. Shut the fuck up.
You're right. I shouldn't be trying to talk to you about unknown.
You made it very clear that we're not invited.
I'm not legally allowed to talk about the unknown, Jackson.
I like in this movie when Entei
It better
fucking
not be
steps
the
on
unknown,
Charizard's
because we're not in the
throat.
unknown zone.
I like when Entei fucking steps on Charizard's throat and just about blows his head off with a fireball.
Yeah, dude, that's
part's
like
pretty
that
good.
moment when you're playing with your friends in middle school and that one kid just takes play pretend way too far, and you're like, dude, you're making this really fucking uncomfortable for everyone right now.
Yeah.
That's what that reminded me of.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. Oh god, you just unlocked a memory with me. I remember one time I was playing make-believe with my friends, and we got to a plot point, but then recess ended, so we just all moved on. But then my friend refused to get out of character throughout class, and we all just got super pissed at him because we'd be trying to do math problems, and he would still be in character from the make-believe that we were doing in recess.
Right.
It explains a lot, honestly.
Honestly, that sounds like something I would have done as a kid. Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I was a big old make-believe pretender, which is why I would be great as the cast member for the 5-year-old girl Molly. This is
For
my
Pokemon 3
audition.
the musical.
For Pokemon 3 the musical. Musical? Why is it a musical now?
I don't know, it could be. I will write Spell of the Unknown the musical. I will do this for society.
Well, because you could have, like, the Greek choir, but it's the unknown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Unknown could be like the choir, and they could be like, we're the Unknown. Go fuck yourself if you want to know why we are the way that we are. Anyway, we grant wishes, and we live in a hell dimension. But they're singing.
And now your house is a giant rock.
Gonna make everything out of crystal. You don't like it? Oh, fuck you. Up yours.
And we can get that guy from the picture I sent to the Discord to play Entei.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I can't stress that all the Pokemon are just human actors in fursuits. I can't stress that enough.
It's like, it's not like that thing where, like, when there are, like, animals in musicals and they kind of dress like the sort of, like, idea of the animal, like in Cats when they have, like, the jazzercise costumes. But, like, no. In this, it's like, you're literally dressed in, like, a giant Pikachu suit.
Yeah,
Like
it's
like the
ones that they
mascot
dance in
costumes.
Japanese.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
Pikachu takes up twice the amount of space on the stage as any human does.
It's like one of the big, like, inflatable Pikachu suits.
Yeah, and halfway through he deflates and a bunch of men have to hurriedly push him off stage.
Straight
All
up,
the
how
kids are
rad would it be,
crying.
though, if you could make a costume for the choir where they just had a whole bunch of Unknown, like, dangling off, like, wires from them, like, in a cloud around them, while they were, like, dancing around? It'd be tight as hell.
Yeah,
It
that'd
would
be
be
rad.
rad as hell.
And you could, like, swirl it around in circles over the audience and
Yeah.
stuff.
And you
You
could
can
get,
have,
like,
like,
some
Unknown
cool
that,
light
like, fall from the
effects.
ceiling, like it's Tough to Be a Bug at Disneyland.
Yeah. And you could have
Oh,
you could have a
yeah.
guy hooked up to a harness and he's dressed up like an Unknown and he's flying above the audience.
Like Peter
and then
Pan at
he
Disneyland.
dies. Then he falls and dies.
Oh, like Spider-Man, that's what you were
Like
The
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man one, yeah. That's Entei. Entei gets hooked up to a harness.
Right.
dies.
And
And the Charizard.
it's like the Prestige. He dies every night and is replaced.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert for the Prestige.
Something's gone wrong if he doesn't die.
Also, the Prestige the musical. What if you did the Prestige the musical, but you actually killed Hugh Jackman every time?
I would cry.
Only if Hugh Jackman is in one of those giant Pikachu suits, then I could get that.
Okay, fair enough. So I feel like we've kind of covered. I mean, the ending is really cool. They just have to sort of like convince her that like, hey, the real world is cool, and what you've made here is like kind of not that. And we're your friends if you
Right.
need some friends. And like, it's
Also,
pretty...
your dad and mom are alive.
Well, yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I feel like having them still be alive is kind of a cop out. I wish they would have
Yeah,
just
it is.
still been dead.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure they should have stayed dead.
But it's
Just
also
have, like, Ash's mom adopt her. It's not like Ash's mom is doing anything.
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
I would love that.
She's just hanging out
But
with
no.
that Mr. Mime.
Yeah, that's her new dad, Mr. Mime.
Mr. Mime or Professor
I
Oak,
believe
both, I
in
guess.
you, Mr. Mime!
And Ash's mom can tell Molly all about how she used to fuck her dad
Yeah.
Yeah.
in the good old days.
If you believe in me, then I can do anything. What does Mr. Mime sound like?
Oh my
Oh my god, could you imagine if Mr. Mime just like
Mime.
spoke English, just like in like a fluent baritone?
If you believe in me, I can do anything, Molly. And he's like pretending to be stuck in a box.
He's got like a wall.
You have to let me out of this box, Molly.
You're
If you-
believing too much. You've trapped me.
If you believe in the box, there is a box, Molly.
Look at me. Eat this apple.
That fucking scene though, where like Entei like shows up to like finally like beat the Unknown like once and for all because like no one else can do it, and like he like starts and then he's like, Molly, please help me. Like that would have traumatized me. That was horrifying.
It's good, but she does, and then he does, and then it's fine. Then he evaporates. and
No,
it's fine.
dude, that kid is gonna have some serious issues.
Nah, none of them
when
were
she
real, so
grows
it's
up.
fine.
It wasn't real.
Also, just one last thing from the Japanese version I want to point out. That sequence where Entei shows up and kidnaps Ash's mom. Like, there's basically no dialogue in it besides Entei shows up and goes, "Mama!" And they're like, "What?" And he's like, "Mama!" And then Ash's mom gets hypnotized and she's like, "Mama!" And then she falls over and runs away. You're like, "Oh, okay."
That's awesome!
At least in this one, you get what they're doing. They're like, oh, he's the mom, and then I get what's going on. I do like Entei just screaming, "Mama!"
I also love that they established
That is
one
so
time
fucking funny.
that Entei could just, completely just mind control people. And then it, never
Right.
came up again.
Yeah.
He's
Well,
like,
it's
"Ash,
not-
you should leave." And he's like, "Make me!" And he's like, "Okay, let me just punch you."
I'll make your eyes lose their anime sparkle.
But yeah, no, I feel like all of these Pokemon movies have sort of anti-resolutions where they're just you shot a fireball at the Unown, so now everything's fine and the crystals are gone and your dad's back to life and your mom's back to life too and we're good. It's the end of the movie. Everything's fine again. It's just
I think it's
okay,
honestly
sure, fine,
just a
I guess.
symptom of the fact that it's from a TV show. It's we can't change the main cast at all. But for some reason, that also means nobody else can change either, even though we're never going to see them ever again.
Right.
Maybe just in case we do see them in the TV show later, they're like, oh, maybe we should keep everything the same, just in case.
But I don't even think it's necessarily about, the growth or the arc. It's just more of, it's like in the last movie where they're just like, if you play the song, then all the birds will stop fighting and Lugia will come back to life and everything will be fine. And you're just like, okay, sure, I guess if you say so.
Yeah,
I shot a fireball at the Unown and now it's all fixed because they just said that it would be. It's fine, whatever.
At least they told you.
Yeah, exactly. It's the Wreck-It Ralph problem.
Listen, they told you. That's all you need.
Right. Do we have any final thoughts on Pokemon 3, the movie, Spell of the Unknown?
It rules.
Oh, I have, well, okay, I looked really hard because here comes my segment of the podcast where I talk about animation shit and, frames and such and whatnot. Because, in the first two movies, there was, there were, a couple times in the first one where, a whole bunch of the frames were, really dirty or they didn't press it down and so you could see all of the shadows underneath it. There's just a lot of problems. Yeah, and the second one there was that scene with Misty where they used a different paint for one of the loops and so her coat just flashes a different color for a second. I didn't see any in this movie. And I was looking for it.
Really good.
Yeah, the animation was a lot better in this one.
Yeah, I think that they're being given more of a budget every time, and I think that they're just kind of getting more passionate about working on it, like we had mentioned before. People are just way more invested and they want to make a good product.
At this point, are they still using actual physical frames, do you think?
I think so. That's actually a really good question though.
At what point did you make that transition?
2001? I don't actually know.
Let me try and look it up.
I did find out that
it.
there is one guy who directs all of the Pokemon movies. Even to this day, he's been the only Pokemon director, which I think is really
On
interesting.
all of them?
Yeah.
That's so interesting.
Maybe he just took a minute to figure it out.
Yeah. I don't fucking know.
Cool, great.
Okay, well then in that
We'll
case,
say
do you guys
yes.
want to hear a bad review of Pokemon 3, the movie?
Yes.
It's gonna make me sad.
So this review comes from Letterboxd.com. They give it 1.5 stars out of 5, they say. It's pretty fucked up when Meowth gets rammed by Pikachu and says, "I need medical coverage."
Wait, read that again.
Wait, hold on.
It's pretty fucked up when Meowth gets rammed by Pikachu and says, "I need medical coverage."
I mean,
Did that happen in this movie?
I don't remember that.
is this
Anyway.
person really that upset that he doesn't have medical coverage that he's willing to give the movie 1 star?
My name's Jackson McMurray.
My name is Adeline McMurray.
My name's Tabi Bardall.
My name's Anna Maguire.
And this is No Nerds Allowed.
No nerds allowed. I thought we were gonna
no
like
nerds
all say
allowed.
it at the same time.
No, we don't
No
have to do that.
nerds
We've never done that
allowed.
before.
No nerds allowed.
No nerds allowed.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no. It's fine.
What, you don't like that bit?
No, I don't like that bit.
No, wait, let's do it again. Let's try it again. Ready. 1, 2,
No nerds
3.
allowed.
No nerds allowed.
Do you like it, Jack?
Can I
No,
stop
I
recording
don't.
now?
We're gonna start recording.